Hello everybody and welcome to this time lapse. We've got some Sharon fruit and a silver plate. Down on the left there you can see the photo reference. I set this up in my studio. Yes, there's lots of things wrong. Well, there's a few things wrong with the photo, but I knew the gist of what I wanted, and that was the plate with the Sharon fruit. So I wasn't interested so much in the background. So here I am working on pastel matte paper. It's the pale gray pastel matte paper color, and it's just because it was next on my sheet. There's no particular reason that I went for this color. So for me, the inspiration behind this piece was the use of orangey toned peaches and lilacs. That's what this is all about. That's the colors that I fancied, and I came up with this. And I was very happy with the painting. I'll have to say that this is one of the paintings that I like the most that I've done. There's a few, but not often. I'm not precious about my work really, because I'm an artist. I sell my work, so I don't tend to be precious about it at all. This one I just honestly loved. I loved pasteling it, and I loved the finished outcome. It was just my jam for sure. So you can see in the background, obviously ignore the photograph, but in the reference, like I said, using very much peachy, browny, peachy, mauvey grays for the background. No definitive table. It's all just quite whimsical, which is exactly what I wanted. Because there's so much going on in the reflections of the plate, as well as the detail around the plate and the Sharon fruit, having a very simple background is what's going to make it not so cluttered. So you can see I made a start just by a base layer of different colors. We've got a lot of color bouncing around in the studio. You can't see it, but on the right of me in the studio, I was hanging a tablecloth, and this tablecloth's actually beige, but because the light, the way the sun was shining through there, it was creating these pinky orange tones, which I adored, which you can see in the plate. Silver is so much fun to paint. There is so much going on, so much color, and it's so abstract. It's like when I paint silver, I literally follow the shapes that I can see in the reflections. And they're all just abstract shapes. So it feels like my mind stops thinking in terms of, oh, this is an orange. Oh, this is a table. It's just looking at shape and color, which is quite relaxing. So anyway, back to the actual edge, the molds that you can see around the plate. So I put a base layer of the plate, and then I went over with the pastel pencils, remembering to use those pastel sticks in the initial layers really lightly. Don't want to be heavy-handed, because I knew I had to come over with detail, and I wanted to use my pastel pencils for that detail. And I don't want to be filling the tooth of the paper and then I'm not able to get the pastel stick to lay down as I want. So just building up with, like I said, the pastel pencils, and then using a lot of the pastel sticks for the actual reflections. So if you did want to check this out, it will be on my Patreon in real time, which I will leave a link in the description below. So like I said, when it came to the reflections, I'm literally looking and copying what I can see in the reference photograph, using the different tonal values, different colors, and just building up those reflections. So much fun. I'm using a mixture of pastel pencils. A lot of the background is actually, and into the pastel plate, the plate, silver plate, is Art Spectrum Extra Soft The Umbers. It's a stunning set of pastels. I absolutely adore it. I bought it from Jackson's not that long ago, and they are just such beautiful, useful colors. But I'm using all my pastel sticks. I'm using New Pastels, Prismacolor New Pastels, which are hard pastels, as well as all my different brands, Unison, Sennelier. I will say a lot of the orange for the Sharon fruit is by Sennelier. I'm always saying this, but I'll say it here in case this is the first time you're watching me. But if you want punches of saturated color, Sennelier, I go to Sennelier automatically. Their colors are just so punchy, and that's exactly what I wanted. These orange reds, orange yellows in the Sharon fruit are just so full of color that I really wanted to translate that. I didn't want to dull that down at all. So a lot of the oranges are Sennelier. So you can see loads of pastel pencils, really helpful little tools. They can manipulate pastel around. If you've laid down pastel with pastel sticks, you can use the pastel pencils to manipulate some of that pigment to just get a better shape. I did struggle a bit with the glass dish in the reflection. My lips was off, so the shape was totally off. Oh, the sun's coming out. Oh, wonderful. It was off, so you'll see me, I went over it quite a few times till I got it to the shape that I was happy with. Now, if you didn't want to do that, it would have been better if I had stronger trace lines in the beginning when I initially copied my image onto my pastel paper. If I'd used stronger lines, it would save me time trying to make corrections for something like the ellipse. But often I just have very basic lines just to give me an indicator, and I tend to do most of the drawing as I'm pasteling along. But it is a little bit more time consuming, obviously, but yeah, that's how I tend to roll. So loads of different grays in here. Like I said, lots of colors. You can see there was just color bouncing all over my studio, and silver is just so much fun. I'm also going to be using this plate again, but I've taken photographs already, but instead of the Sharon fruit, I've got the green peppers. Well, they're not green pepper. What they called? They look like, they are a type of pepper. They're not a chili. They are a pepper. I forgot what they're called. They start with a P. Pomodoro? No, that's a tomato. I don't know. But I'm going to play with yellows and greens. Anyway, that's just a bit of a by the by. So you can see a lot of the detail on the plate is done with the pastel pencils. They were still going over so nicely because I'd really made sure that I crushed those soft pastel pigments into the paper so that I knew I could get these layers on top of my base layers, especially like I said, because I'm using pastel pencils, they don't lay down color as saturatedly as a soft pastel stick, but then they don't fill the tooth of the paper as easily as a soft pastel stick. So I really needed my base layer to be really crushed into the paper so that I can build on it with my pastel pencils, because they've got the nice thin nibs and they work really well to get all this intricate detail. So here you can see I'm working on the glass. Lots of fun as well, glass, because it's obviously see-through and it's picking up on colors and it's just distorting whatever's in the glass. So it's making these abstract shapes. So it's a lot of fun. I really enjoy pasteling glass as well. Obviously remembering to get the whatever's in the glass in first and then put the glass on top of it. So I tend to work backwards to foreground. As you can see, I worked on the background, then the plate, and then moved forward through the painting. here you can just see me with these beautiful, intense, gorgeous colors from Sennelier, and they just worked so well. I just loved the color harmony in this piece. It was quite striking. Oh, I'm really happy with this. I have sold it, and it's the first painting where I'm like, oh, I kind of wish it was hanging around. Um, I may have to make myself another one with this color. You can see the shadows. I'm using purples. I'm using plummy purples as well as more like manganese violet. Oh, I can't talk today. Um, Rather than just using browns or dull grays, giving some life to the shadows. So, anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this one, but it's coming to an end now. But I shall see you in the next one. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.